Diddy did it what? Prosecutors are demanding a 70-year sentence, even though he was only convicted on 2 counts. Meanwhile, victims are finally speaking out about the freak-off empire that Diddy allegedly built using bad boy records as a criminal enterprise. Word on the street is there are nearly 70 civil lawsuits still pending, and the receipts being dropped in these cases are absolutely disgusting. We're talking about over 1,000 bottles of lubricant seized from his homes, AR-15 rifles, and recordings of victims being forced into these freak-offs. And don't even get me started on the 13-year-old victim who allegedly came forward with claims. Listen, there is a lot to talk about here, so grab a chair and let's get into it. Okay, so unless you've been living under a rock, you know Diddy's trial has been the messiest thing to hit Hollywood in years. The entire circus started when Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit in November 2023, exposing years of alleged abuse and forced participation in freak-offs. Mind you, Diddy settled that case within 24 hours for a reported $20 million, which had everyone wondering what exactly he was trying to hide. But when federal agents raided his LA and Miami mansions in March 2024, he couldn't buy his way out anymore. By September 2024, he was hit with federal charges, including racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The trial ran from May to July 2025, and baby, the things that came out in that courtroom were absolutely vile. Now, of course, in typical Diddy fashion, he didn't go down without a fight. He pleaded not guilty to everything, and his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, tried to spin the whole thing as consensual adult relationships. But then CNN leaked that hotel surveillance video from 2016 showing him literally dragging and kicking Cassie in a hotel hallway. After that video dropped, Diddy posted an apology on Instagram saying, "My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. Girl, please." He literally only apologized after he got caught on camera. But the receipts were already out there and his defense was crumbling fast. And then there was Cassie, who started this entire avalanche. You see, Cassie was in a relationship with Diddy from 2007 to 2018, and according to her lawsuit, he allegedly forced her to participate in freak-offs, physically abused her, and controlled every aspect of her life. The hotel video from 2016 showed him attacking her in the hallway, and people couldn't believe how violent he was. Mind you, she settled her lawsuit within 24 hours of filing it, which basically screamed guilt to everyone watching. As if that wasn't bad enough, she wasn't the only one. Oh, honey, it doesn't stop there. There was Jane, a pseudonymous victim who testified that Diddy allegedly forced her into signing a love contract and participating in freak-offs against her will. And then there was a male sex worker who came forward with his own disturbing testimony about being trafficked to these events. Rodney Jones, a producer who worked with Diddy, also filed a lawsuit alleging that Diddy groomed him and made inappropriate advances. To make matters even worse, one of the civil lawsuits includes allegations from a victim who claims they were only 13 years old when Diddy allegedly assaulted them. Word on the street is there are even more victims too scared to come forward because of how powerful Diddy's team allegedly is. Over 30 civil suits were filed before the trial even started, and people were just adding names, victims, and testimonies to the pile. But the absolute worst part, some of these victims were minors. Now, as all this mess was going down, people started wondering who else knew about this. Mind you, these freak-offs didn't just happen by themselves. According to testimony, Diddy's bodyguards allegedly arranged hotel rooms and cleaned up after these events. Staff members allegedly booked IV drip services because victims needed medical recovery after these marathon sessions. And as if all this wasn't bad enough, the feds found receipts. We're talking about detailed hotel bookings, text messages coordinating everything, and over 1,000 bottles of lubricant that showed just how organized this operation allegedly was. Remember those white parties Diddy threw in the Hamptons during the 90s and 2000s? People like Leonardo DiCaprio and Paris Hilton attended those events, and now folks are wondering what exactly was going on behind closed doors. Word on the street is some A-listers are sweating right now because they don't want their names dragged into this. But what the feds found in his homes was even more disturbing. Now, aside from all these messy relationships, the evidence seized from Diddy's homes painted an even darker picture. You see, when federal agents raided his LA and Miami mansions in March 2024, they found over 1,000 bottles of lubricant, 3 AR-15 rifles, and recordings of the freak-offs. Girl, this man had an entire operation running. According to testimony, these freak-offs allegedly involved drugs like ketamine to keep victims compliant during marathon sessions that lasted for days. Victims testified that they were allegedly filmed without their consent during these encounters, and Diddy allegedly used these recordings as blackmail to keep them silent. And baby, the receipts don't lie. The prosecution tried to frame Bad Boy Records as a criminal enterprise, basically treating this like a RICO case. They alleged that Diddy used his entire business infrastructure to facilitate sex trafficking and abuse. But here's where things get even messier. When the verdict came down in July 2025, Diddy was acquitted on the major charges, including racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking by force. He was only convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Mind you, those 2 counts typically carry a maximum sentence of around 10 years combined. But prosecutors were out here demanding 70 years. That's right, 70 years for 2 convictions. To make matters even worse, when Judge Subramanian handed down the actual sentence in October 2025, Diddy only got 50 months. The judge said, "This is hard time, but it provides a path toward rehabilitation." So prosecutors wanted to lock this man up for basically life, but he ended up with just over 4 years. People couldn't help but wonder if there was some kind of deal made behind the scenes, or if the prosecution was just trying to make an example out of him. But wait, because it gets even more complicated. As we speak, there are nearly 70 civil lawsuits still pending against Diddy. These victims are coming for everything he has left. And allegedly, some of these suits include even more disturbing allegations that didn't make it into the criminal trial. Word on the street is some of these lawsuits connect Diddy to a broader Hollywood network of freak-offs and abuse. There's even been speculation about other moguls being involved, especially after Jay-Z got hit with a separate lawsuit alleging similar behavior, though he's denied everything. This is giving R. Kelly vibes all over again, where one domino falls and suddenly the whole industry's secrets start spilling out. And honestly, people are starting to ask who else knew about this and stayed quiet for decades. As usual, people had their thoughts, like this person who said, "Diddy built an entire empire on the backs of his victims, and now it's all coming down. Those 70 civil suits are going to bankrupt him completely." Another person said, "The fact that prosecutors wanted 70 years, but he only got 50 months is wild. Either the evidence wasn't strong enough or something shady happened behind the scenes." But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about prosecutors demanding 70 years when he only got convicted on 2 counts? And do you really think Diddy's empire is finished for good? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.